Hey, cousin. Listen, cousin. Come on in. Come on in. One of my favorite cousins. Listen, I'm so excited about one of my favorite cousins. She pulled up on us. She came over. She's sitting here and she is in the house. Listen, this cousin is not just a favorite cousin, but this cousin, we go way back. You've seen this cousin like on many stages. Eric Benet, I mean, that's just one. I think it was the Jonah Brothers. You've seen this cousin also with, let me see. Oh, Earth, Wind, and Fire? Yep, Earth, Wind, and Fire. This cousin is on fire. Her range is something else. Let me tell you, y'all put y'all hands together for one of my favorite cousins, Jessica Jolia.
Hi.
Hi, cousin.
How are you?
Oh, I am good and I'm a hot child.
Well, I'm always cold, so I feel bad for you because I feel good.
I feel like I'm over here on fire today. I am so glad that you are here.
Happy to be here.
Welcome. So how are you, Jess?
I'm good. I'm enjoying being inside. It's hot today, so
It is extremely hot. It's extremely hot. Sacramento weather has been so crazy, but today it's been windy, it's been sprinkling, it's been doing all kind of things.
Yes.
So outside of the weather, like, how are you?
I'm good. I have accomplished a lot. I just graduated from Pepperdine in April with my MBA.
Wow, congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Pepperdine, yes. How was that experience?
It was surreal because I remember when I was in high school, that's the school that I wanted to go to. And I ended up going to Oklahoma Christian University to study music there. But I never anticipated studying business. I, a few years ago, got a bachelor's in music business from Full Sail University. And then I was just thinking, I feel like this is very specific to my industry, which is great. But I wanted to know more about just business in general, not just music business, but just because I have entrepreneurial tendencies. And, I wanted to just have as much information available as I could. So I performed there at the ceremony. I sang the national anthem, and going to sound check the day before and just standing there and looking at the campus and just remembering being like a teenager, like 17, I wanted to go to this school and it didn't work out that I did, but later in life I did, to study something I never anticipated studying. And then being able to perform, it was a blessing. And like I said, it just felt very surreal, and my family was able to come down, and it was great to celebrate with them.
Well, this is an amazing accomplishment. Yeah. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
So, cousin, real quick, I have to explain that this cousin, Jessica, she's a songwriter, producer. I mean, she has, I think it was 100 million views of her single "Ooh La La."
Actually, we just got to 160.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. They just got to 160. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because I introduced her as just doing all these things, but you went to school specifically for music.
I did.
And that is huge. I remember when I went back to college and I was studying music, and it was back then, it was a lot even then. So I know that you have just obtained a lot of different information because the industry has definitely changed and
it keeps changing
and always evolving. So what was that experience as far as learning, combining the business and then the music together? How did that kind of help you in your journey with music?
I think it just helped me to be more focused, because I think probably a lot of people that are just naturally creative, you lean into that so much that you are not always thinking about what are the business principles that I need to understand to be able to have a long career, and for this to become more than just my hobby, this thing that I do for fun, or something that I do with friends, on the weekends. It gave me the information that I needed to actually be able to build something sustainable. And it didn't take me away from being creative. It just added to it in the way that allowed me to, on this hand, be creative, but then know what to do with that creativity instead of, building this catalog of music that either no one hears or that you don't monetize well, because as we know, streaming doesn't pay very much. People don't buy physical copies of things the way that they used to, right? So even if you were to download a song of mine right now that's $1.29, I don't get the whole $1.29.
Right.
So you have to start thinking about more than just, I have a talent or I have a passion that I have cultivated and I just want to do that all the time. Okay, well, that's fun. And if you just want to do it for fun, it's cool. But I always wanted it to be something that could be bigger than me, something that would last longer than my life, because time goes by so quickly. And so I learned so much. And I can't say I enjoyed every class because, I am a creative person. And sometimes you're sitting there like, oh my goodness, I don't really want to do this. But then later, looking back, it's like, no, you needed to be there. And it was a good decision, even if you did have to kind of really motivate yourself to finish, certain courses. But it helped me to see the importance of taking the creativity and taking the business information and putting them together so that you can really build something.
Wow, I love that. So I know that you've had opportunities to share space with people like Eric Benet. When you were singing on the stages back then, what did that look like as a woman in the industry?
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because for whatever the reasons might be, I think for some people, Eric Benet as a topic was a bit controversial at the time that I started singing with him because of, I guess, the public's interest in his personal life and some things that may have been shared about his personal life.
Okay.
And so people would ask me, well, what is it like, working with him? And, how do you feel about, X, Y, Z? And I was just like, from the very first time that I met him, which I didn't meet him initially because I was singing with him. I was actually singing with Guapale, and she was signed to his label at the time. They were singing a duet in a performance that I was a part of. And he came in and heard me sing and then asked me if I would be interested in singing with him too.
Wow.
So it wasn't like, my initial interaction with him was because I was going to work with him, but it progressed into that. And so when we actually did have the first rehearsal together, he felt like a family member. And he always treated me in a way that not only recognized my talent, but honored it in a way that I'm giving you space while you're here, because sometimes as a background singer, it's just, this is your part. You're going to stand over there. People are not going to really see you. They'll hear you. They won't know that it's you. And you do the same thing show after show after show. There's not necessarily moments built around showcasing you. There are some artists like Rasan Patterson. I love him so much, and he does that with his background singers. Sarah is one of my friends, and she sings for him, and she has her moments. So I will say some people do that, but in my experience, that's not always been the case. So, singing with him, I felt comfortable. I felt safe. I didn't feel like, I have to watch my back or, it's, a certain time at night. I don't want to be, hanging out with, because they're men and they're older. They're, considerably older than me. But like I said, I just was treated very well and given a space to be seen as me. And if I had music that was coming out and we happened to be on tour, we would perform. And if there was a moment where he could say, hey, before we do the XYZ song, this is my background singer, Jessica Jolia. Her new song, XYZ, came out. Download it, buy it, whatever, stream it. And he treated me really well. And I think that our voices worked really well together. And I remember the first time we had a full rehearsal, I think he anticipated really having to go into a lot of details about how he wanted me to sing certain things. And he didn't know, like you have been one of my favorite artists for a long time, so I really know his music. And so I don't remember what song it was, but we were singing something, and he stopped everybody, and he said, you know my vibrato? And I said, yeah. And he was like, yeah, because you're matching my voice identically. And I said, well, I love your music. So it was so special to be to be there, to be working with him. And then it just ended up that I worked with him the longest out of anyone I've toured with. I spent the most time with him. So it was great. It was a great space to be in as a woman, as a Black woman. And, you know, I always say he's my favorite because of that. Not that I had, you know, negative experiences with other people, but it was such a positive experience with him.
I love that perspective. And the reason why I do is because sometimes everybody doesn't have that. Mm-hmm. And we've been able to change the trajectory with your story to say, you know what, my experiences look different. Mm-hmm. I'd seen you on stage with Eric Benet, and he's giving you room to thrive. A lot of times I'm like, wait, who's the artist? You know, I love that he created that space for you. And I would see you guys touring, and the fans are going crazy. They knew your name. And I just appreciate Eric for looking out for Jess for that.
Yes.
You know, that does not happen. I know when I used to have shows, I would love calling people on the stage with me because I felt like sharing a stage is a part of your heart posture when it's not making it about yourself.
That's right.
But you're really like, come on, we're family. I want you to share your gift. I want the world to hear your gift. So I'm glad that you was able to do that as well.
Yeah.
And you have just, man, you just thrive. I mean, being in this space, you're singing background with Guapole. He hears you, and he's like, wait a minute. I need you to come and roll with me.
That's really
divine favor.
Yes.
It's like God just put you in the right place at the right time, and you wasn't afraid of it. Now, when you transitioned to kind of going into this whole big tour, because it seemed like it was probably a bigger, more fan base, how was that for you as far as, I know you've always just been on stage, but it's a different when you kind of you go from maybe being in front of like, let's just say 2,000 people. Now the numbers have doubled. So how did you, like, looking out at the stage, what was that for you?
Well, being a singer yourself, you know that a lot of times you look out and it's dark and you can't see anybody anyway.
Right.
So sometimes it could have been 50,000 people and I can't see you anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
But I think it just, as the size of the audience grew, I just came to appreciate the opportunities more. I've always loved performing. I grew up playing instruments and singing at church and singing in school, and then going to college on scholarships. So I've always kind of been a performer, but I like singing in front of 10 people just as much as, 10,000 people. I think sometimes when you can sing in front of a smaller audience and you can see somebody and I can sing right to you, it's a little bit different because there's an experience and exchange that's happening both ways. Versus you look out and it's just like, there's 100,000 people out there and I probably look like a dot to them, So then it's more just, I don't have the ability to look at you in the eye and point at you when I'm singing something. So I'm just, wow, like this is such a blessing to be able to use this gift, this talent in front of all of these people.
But you can feel the energy though.
You definitely can.
You can feel the energy.
You can feel it.
Feel eyes looking on you or at you.
Sure.
And you may not be able to see because, it's like, I can't see, but I can feel it. And I know that you kind of was like, woo.
Yeah, well, I will say, I think in terms of that, a few years ago, I got to perform at Rock in Rio in Brazil.
Okay.
And I think that was probably like 150,000 people.
Wow.
And that experience, I think, was different because in terms of what you could feel how much that audience appreciated music, They sang along, they smiled, they're dancing and laughing and really having a good time. And because of the different positioning, sometimes I was a little bit closer to where you could see some people, and then sometimes, you're further back and you can only see what's happening on the screens. But when you can feel an energy because of how much they love what's happening around them and because they're participating, it does affect you. In the same way, sometimes for me, it does make me reflect on, wow, like you're doing things that so many people dream of doing and you're right here right now. So appreciate, the gift, appreciate the moment. But then sometimes, it might motivate you to do a little more because you can feel how much they're engaged and really, really present with you. And so you might give a little more sometimes, because of that feeling. But I think just in general, like I've always loved to perform. So I don't think I ever had a goal of, one day I want to sing in front of this many people. It's just, I just want to sing in front of as many people as I can, however that might present itself.
Yeah. That's a great perspective to have. I know for me, I don't mind big stages, but I like the intimacy.
Yeah.
I do like to look in people's eyes. I want to see people crying.
Yeah.
I want to see people just up close to me and just like feeling like I just brought them into my world. I love that feeling. And I'm an energy person.
Yeah.
So I want to feel it.
Yeah.
But if I can't see them, I'm like, wait a minute, I can close my eyes and I can still feel the vibration in the room. So I want to pivot a little bit about, not just more about the music, but even being in music, right, for you. What have you had to navigate in your personal space, in your personal life, whether your health, whether it was relationships? What was that for you?
I think in terms of like family, there was a lot of sacrifice because I felt like I was missing so much. I'm the oldest of my siblings.
Okay.
And so there were graduations that I missed and birthdays that I missed and Mother's Days and Father's Days and holidays, Christmas sometimes even, or you just barely get there before Christmas. And it was always a challenge. I tried to stay in touch with my family as much as I could. And then, of course, eventually you have FaceTime, so you feel a little more connected because you can see them. But, as we all got older and my siblings especially started having children, it was just like, man, I feel like time's going by so fast. And if I, don't figure out a better way to balance, I'm going to keep missing things. And that was always a challenge for me. So I did try. I've always tried along the way to find as much free time as I can to squeeze in between everything else. But then now, as I've gotten older, I'm okay with not doing things, passing on an opportunity if it falls on somebody's birthday party or, just really placing what I value where it should have always been. And not that I didn't value my family, but I think, younger, you're just like, I'm just trying to get there. I'm just trying to get there. I'm just trying to get there. And eventually I won't have to make these sacrifices. But at some point it's like, okay, well, you're kind of where you said you wanted to be and you're still missing out on things. So is that what you want to keep doing? Because the kids are going to keep getting older and they're eventually going to be like, where is my auntie? Like
right.
she just not, okay, she's not here, right?
And you can't get that time back.
Exactly.
I can relate. When I was raising my children and performing, there was a lot of times I had my kids on stage with me in the back, and there was times where I had to leave. I had like a 2-hour window to just kind of, debrief and catch up with life with my children. And then I was headed out the door again.
Yeah.
And when, you look around, time has passed by, your kids are grown up.
Yep.
You say your nieces and nephews are grown up, and you're like, wait a minute, you was just here. Now you taller than me.
Right.
And you're like, I missed out on so much. Because you were operating, of course, in your purpose.
Sure.
And that is kind of like the yin and the yang of you get to get this life that you prayed about, that you dreamed about as a little girl. And then, of course, there's a sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel like you missed out. So
yeah.
I thank you for sharing the part about, wanting to put your family as a priority now, because that's important and we can't get that time back.
That's right.
When you pivot to different things in your life outside of your family, what was the hardest thing that you navigated in your whole career in your personal life?
I think, probably two things. The first, I was on tour with, I was on the Jonas Brothers tour. Okay. And I think that was March of 2020. I just remember I woke up one day and I was in like excruciating pain. And at that time, I didn't know what sciatica was. So later it was explained to me that's what I had. But I had some tests done and then I was told that I had an ovarian cyst. And at the time it was like pretty small, maybe like 3 centimeters or so, nothing like crazy. But the surgeon that I needed to perform the procedure wasn't available until September.
Wow.
So, because I had a few negative experiences with my healthcare provider in trying to determine if maybe somebody else could do it, I decided, well, I'm going to wait till September. But in the summertime, I got a call asking, do you want to go on this tour? And I'm like, oh, Lord, I've been in this pain, but I have to wait anyway. So should I stay home and just keep waiting, or should I go, on the tour and just figure out how to manage the pain? Because singing and music still brings me joy. So my mindset was like, it might be a good balance, because you're going to have to wait out this, process for this procedure. You're going to be in pain to some degree every day anyway. And I was out there, and I mean, I think it was the best decision that I could have made at the time, because I felt like I was able to, not knowing that was going to be the case, but able to impact so many people, because although we were doing stadiums, I could see the people in the front. So I could point at them and smile at them. And then I would participate in the meet and greet, and people would come up to me. I mean, and these were young people, like teenagers and early 20s. And, I am so glad that you were a part of this show, because I've been depressed for so many months because of this reason, or because a family member passed away, or I lost my job, or I've just been having a hard time. And you're up there smiling, and I had like this rainbow colored hair for the whole tour. So I'm up there like just dancing and smiling, and really using all of my effort and energy to focus on the performance, to not think about everything going on in my body, and like pouring it out to them. And that was healing for me, not knowing it would also be healing for other people. And I did that the whole year. And then when I came home in December, I was able to have the procedure, and, everything's been good with that since then. But it was difficult to do, because like I said, I was in pain every day. And I feel like it was a blessing, because somehow, although I was waking up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every day in like excruciating pain, literally like the hour before it was time to perform, it would stop.
It would stop, right?
It would stop. And I'd be like, that's God, and it's also probably my adrenaline. Like, okay, let's go. And you're just not thinking about those things.
Yeah.
But I love that I did that, because it was hard to do. But like I said, it was healing for me, and I was able to help so many other people, not knowing I would even have the opportunity. And then aside from that, I think is something that I'm still navigating in terms of my health. But I had an adverse reaction to the COVID vaccine, and it affected my immune system and my nervous system. It caused a lot of pain in my joints. At one point, I had to have fluid literally drained from my knees, from my elbow. And the outlook from the doctors just wasn't very optimistic from my perspective, because I'm a person that I've never seen myself living on medication. Like, I don't want to have to depend on that to function, right? So communicating that with my primary care physician, or my rheumatologist, or any other specialist they refer me to, in the healthcare system, they just look at, well, this is what it looks like you have, this is what we can offer you. And if you don't want to do that, you're just going to be sick, and you're going to be in pain. And so, that was the process of, okay, well, what is navigating additional, perspectives and specialists? What does that look like? How much does that cost? Like, what do I have to, what can I do to be able to put myself in a position to try to recover in the safest way? And along that process, I had lost my voice, all interconnected.
Wait. So you find out that you have this infection.
Well, it was basically my immune system was hyperactive. Yeah.
So your immune system's hyperactive.
It's like attacking your tissues.
Right. And then on top of that, you're dealing with one thing, and then you find out your voice. So what did that look like? When you say your voice left?
Yeah.
You couldn't hit a note? You couldn't
left.
Talk?
It went somewhere else.
Where was you at when this happened? Was you on stage?
No. So you know what? It actually started, I remember I was on tour with Kylie Minogue, and she had a residency in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And so we were finishing in May of 2024. And it's Las Vegas. And I have asthma, but it's not like a chronic issue. It's just more, if I get a cold, the average person might just, okay, whatever, blow it off. And me, it's like, okay, now I got bronchitis and I can't breathe. So.
I know about asthma.
Right. So I was thinking, like, okay, well, I'm kind of walking through the casinos and the venue was smoke free. So I wasn't performing in smoke, but you figure like it's Las Vegas. There's stuff that you're just environmentally exposed to. So I woke up one day and I was like, oh, my throat it feels kind of weird, like dry. But that's what I thought it was. And it's dry heat in Vegas too. So I kind of brushed it off, and that was early in the morning. And I went to sound check and I was like, this feels weird. It wasn't like I couldn't sing. It just felt like it required more effort.
Okay.
And so I remember I called my dad and I said, do you think I should take like some steroids or something? Because I feel like maybe I'm starting to get bronchitis. And I was explaining how my throat felt. And he was like, well, don't take them unless you have to. And if you take them, take the least amount, that you can take, because, steroids are not good for you. So
right, exactly.
In my experience, though, anytime I had ever had to take them for a health reason, if my voice was affected, it would fix it right away. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just take I think I had 5 milligram tablets. I'll just take 10 milligrams and I'll be fine. No, I still felt like, oh, it's just taking more effort from me. But I wasn't afraid in that moment because I still thought I must be just getting sick, And it wasn't like, oh, I went to sing a note and it didn't come out, or I can't project, or my notes are cracking. It wasn't severe, so I didn't think anything of it. But from that moment on, it continued to slowly progress. And so I lost the top range of my voice, then the mid range of my voice, and then I started getting hoarse just from having regular conversations. So I would be trying to talk to you, just cut out, and it would happen like that all the time.
Wow.
And then I woke up one day and I couldn't speak at all. Like nothing was coming out. And I had to talk to probably 10 different doctors, and still, because on scoping, there's nothing that looks wrong. No one could say well, this is the thing that's happening that's wrong and this is how we fix it. It's just more like you have an underlying inflammatory issue and that's probably contributing in some way, but it's not like there's something that we can remove so that, your throat is open and now you can sing. It's just, it's dysfunctioning and we don't know how to help you.
They didn't know how to help you. Mm-mm. So for me, I would definitely have anxiety because I have anxiety when I was singing or on stage, trying to sing, trying to breathe with my asthma's flaring up. I'm singing off. I'm flat. They probably like, she's singing flat. I wasn't singing flat because I couldn't sing.
Right.
I'm singing flat because I'm having a process trying to breathe, and now I'm feeling like, okay, I might pass out. My voice is gone. It was just, I couldn't imagine what you were experiencing when you're like, Lord, I just want to sing. I just want to do this thing that you've given me. And like you said earlier, sometimes things happen to us and for us. Not because God is trying to say, I'm punishing you because, but I think that sometimes what I've learned is that when you're going through something, it builds character. It actually pushes you into things that you didn't know that you could do. Yep. You might have just been, I want to be a singer, and didn't know you could be a producer.
That's true.
And so I think that for me, I wouldn't have this podcast if I was just stuck on just wanting to do one thing in one way. And so what I was saying to you earlier about how the Lord cultivated you in this moment, I'm really proud of you for that, because you did not miss a beat. I watched you just thriving every day, doing your thing. But one of the things that I've noticed about just in this conversation with you is that you real people, you real people. And you've always, I really appreciate, because you've always been really cool with me. And I have mental notes of people that have always been cool with me. I didn't have to worry about if you was going to be funny today or if you're going to speak tomorrow. I don't, and so I appreciate that. I remember the last time we were in NAM and we were walking around and you were like, so what do you want to get out of this? And I just remember you just saying that to me and my son and I. And we were all from Sacramento. It was a lot of us there. And everybody pretty much is doing their thing, whether they're singing, whether they're DJing. Zaya Bell's doing her thing.
She is.
Tisra's doing her thing. Everybody's doing their thing. And even my son, Savon, he's doing his thing. So I just feel like everybody's life is doing whatever it needed to do for us to be where we are
That's
today.
right.
And, you know, we just have to continue to trust God no matter what, when life shows up, because life gonna show up. It's gonna show up indeed. But to keep your faith and keep going and waking up every day. So when you got to the point where you realized, like, this is crazy, this is happening to me, my voice, my health, what made you keep going?
I think a few things. I think, firstly, I have always appreciated having had my grandmother as the example that I had. She passed away young. She was 59, just like about a month and a half before her 60th birthday. And from all of my memories of her, she was always what you would consider sickly. But I don't think any of us, including her, I don't think any of us realized that she was as sick as she was when she passed, because she was a person who was very proactive about her health, and she had lupus and diabetes and other things, but she would go to doctor's appointments, probably more than most people would. Anytime something would bother her, you know, she was proactive about it. So like losing her, I was young, I was 19. But also having seen how she lived her life in her faith and in all of the different moments of pain that she was in, because she had to take so many different medications, probably feeling discomfort from fluid retention from medication, which now I know what that feels like, because as a kid, I didn't know. And you just see this person who, you know, she never lost her faith. She was always at church and always at Bible study and always making sure her grandkids were there too. And would check in on you and make sure you're not doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing. Right. But seeing her navigate all of her health issues, the ones that I knew and the ones that I didn't know about until I got older, but her being so loving and so kind and giving and generous and compassionate, nurturing, all the things that she was while being so sick. And I'm sure now, having gone through what I've gone through, many days just didn't feel like being present, because you're in physical pain, and that causes mental anguish at some point when you are experiencing chronic pain. Seeing her navigate that and never change who she was very impactful for me. And I knew many years ago, before anything was ever wrong with me in terms of my health, that she was an extremely important figure in my life. And I always looked up to her while she was here. And in memories, looking back, like, man, she was just such a great person. But seeing it and seeing what that looks like helped me to not change who I was, even though I was going through things I didn't understand and I didn't have answers. And I think part of me was wanting to strive to be like her, because I saw what it looked like, and then I understood what it felt like to be able to choose. You wake up, you don't feel good. Are you going to be mean and bitter, or are you going to still be the good person that you are and do what you can? And when it's too much for your body, just rest and let it be what it is. And I didn't want to be a bitter person. Many days and nights I was in a lot of pain, and nothing was really giving me relief. And yeah, you're upset because of the circumstances, but I really never wanted it to change my character. So having her be the example that I could then give, she literally was a blueprint for me. Like, if this is what happens in your life, this is how you can choose to navigate it. You can be the other way, but you can still choose to have the best life that you can, even under the circumstances. And then the other side of it is just like really believing that God is not going to punish me. You know, he's not going to do something to cause me anguish and torment and all of the feelings that I had of I'm losing parts of who I am because I can't express myself this way, or I don't have the confidence to show up to sing for someone's birthday or whatever because they don't know what's going on with my voice, and I don't want to tell them, and I'm feeling like I don't even know what's going to come out anyways because it's not predictable at this point. Just really believing that, you know, if God allows me to go through something, there's a reason for it, and I'm going to get through it. And I don't know what getting through it looks like, but some things can't be up to me to figure out. And when you let go of that stuff and just let it be what it is and focus on what you can control, everything gets a lot lighter and a lot easier.
It does. My grandmother, she definitely was the blueprint for me. She was such a warrior woman. She would wake up in the morning, breakfast done, house cooked, she doing the yard, she cutting the yard. She was just, and I know, I was just, a young lady myself, but I know that she was carrying so many different things, the weight that was on her shoulders, and she still gave God a yes. And for me, I had to learn in my hardest times in my life, it wasn't about singing, it wasn't about just music or coaching and all the things that I do. It was about my identity in God. And I remember just going back to the Word, and God's Word says that I'm established by Him. And when you're established by God, those are the kind of like bonus things we get to do on the earth. We get to sing, those are just things that we get to do. But when you know who you are in God, it doesn't matter if you sing it, it doesn't matter if you tapping on the stool. God has purpose for us. And that's what I love about the Lord, because He helps us in these moments when we think like life is just ending. And God is like, child, get up, put your head up. And you have your head up, Jess, and I love it. And I love God for that, for you.
Thank you. And I love what you just said, because it mirrors what my father said. And I was having a tough time, maybe not too long ago, probably earlier this year. And my voice was really, really bad at that point. And he was just essentially saying, like, just remember, you can sing, but you are not defined by your ability to sing or not. Remember that if for any reason you can't sing, you're no less of a person. And it really made me think, like, is that why I'm so hurt? Because I feel like I am a singer. I am singing. I am, not I can. And I was like, you're right. You're right. I'm still me, even if I can't.
Even if you can. That does not define you as Jessica, right? And for me, that was something that I had to sit with as well, because the persona, I want to be in the T. I want to be, I'm MouthPeace. Right? And MouthPeace has some challenges. And not only did I have only challenges, but I had some other things that didn't even realize that I needed to work deeply in. Before I can come back out to the world. Sometimes God will sit you down and have you just work on yourself and heal in some other ways. You might go into the doctor thinking it's physical. And then you realize, no, it's mental, it's physical. It's the way that we think. Do we have an emotionally intelligence? Do we?
Right.
A lot of times we don't. Sometimes we just in la la land and thinking that the world kind of just revolves about our need. And we don't realize, like you said, you're showing up for your niece and nephew. You don't know that God maybe really needed you to be with your family. We never know the why. For me, when my mom was going through the different things, I wasn't singing, I wasn't doing a lot of different things because my family needed me. There are some times I just needed to work. It wasn't even about anything else. But I'm glad that these small little things happen, because it didn't define me. What it did was it evolved me. And it just kind of evolved me closer to the Lord. So hey man, we have a church today, y'all. We having church. Listen, I love it. So listen, Jess, I just want to just say thank you, for coming, pulling up on us.
Of course.
You know what? Because you are just such a sweetheart. And I wanted to give you your flowers, queen. A lot of times we see people that we know, and, I see you on Instagram, so I don't get to see you every day. But I want to just give you your flowers and say, you know what? It takes a lot to just be who you are. Whether you're writing, you're being in creative spaces, you're pushing your own things, you're collabing with different people. That that takes courage to keep going, especially after sharing the different things that you went through and faced. And I just want to give you your flowers, you know. I want to give you your flowers. Yes. You're welcome, Queen.
So pretty.
And, you know, on this show, it's about doing the work. And you've kind of talked about a little bit of the work that you had to do internally. If you had something to say to someone about the work, or you just want to encourage someone, look at that camera and just give someone some words of encouragement about the inner work that you have to do within yourself, and what you kind of just give them some advice.
I think I would say really genuinely let God lead you, and then control the controllables. That is from my father. Control the controllables, and the stuff that you can't control, let it go. Give it to God. Let him do his thing. That was something I've been taught my whole life, but something that takes work when it's really applicable to you, when you really have to say, okay, I'm doing too much because I'm so determined to figure out and fix, and it isn't even for you to do.
I want to fix this.
Just let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let go and let God.
Yeah.
That's the best advice, to let go and let God. Cousins, y'all heard that. Let go and let God. Sometimes we face things that we don't have control over. Life kind of be lifing, like we say. And you look around and you see, like, how did I get here? Why am I here? Well, you're here because God has a reason and a purpose. But guess what? It ain't all the bad stuff. God would turn your midnight into day, and you see that he did it for Jessica today. Listen, God showed up for our cousin. She's not only got her voice back, but she is doing her thing. She's still on the charts. Her music is amazing. I want you to support her, and we're going to put all her information down on below. But I want y'all to check out our favorite cousin. Thank you again, cousin Jessica, for coming on a little more work and doing some work with us. And before we get out of here, we're gonna have you pull a card.
Okay.
And this one you can pick. You can be happy, thankful, whatever color. So I want you to read the color where you feeling right now.
Okay.
And then let them know what you feeling right now.
Okay, I am feeling very thankful.
Okay.
That is my color. Now, will my nails let me pull it out?
We're gonna try. We both got nails. We're gonna be
Let's see.
praying.
Okay, let's see.
Is it the pink?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll get the top
Come
one.
on, Jesus, do it for us.
I got it.
Okay, read it out and see what it says.
Okay. Whenever the living creatures give glory, honor, and thanks to him who sits on the throne and who lives forever and ever.
Oh, I like that. Sitting on the throne, living forever and forever. Well, that is for you, Queen.
Thank you.
And that's a little more work you could take with you when you kind of need a reminder. And once again, listen, cousin, there is always room for us to do a little more work. I'll be talking to you soon.